tell you that these board members do make calls to the business office and other places to question our finances from time to time. You may not see it open session here, but it does go on. But I look forward to seeing it at calendar committee very soon.
Well, you're also going to have an after-school committee and there were several committees you already promised us.
We'll revisit that.
We're still waiting for those to meet as well.
We'll revisit that.
Lucy Walker.
Hello, everyone. Lucy Walker, if you're listening. For 2 years, I've been the New Jersey School Board Association Force Daily Intelligence Meeting, and now we are finally actively involved with them. And I'm going to be another boss, and that is policy manual. Policy manual. Policy manual is the way you bring 18A into the district and make sure that you are following the laws. We need to see it. If it is available at any website, I would like the web address. If you have board members who are sitting around this table who have never read it, you are in violations and you know it. Okay? Warning. Facilities rental for 1 month is more than enough to pay for April school board elections. Facilities rental for 1 month is more than enough to pay for April school board elections. And you know it. So don't come here talking about you don't have enough money. And how come it went up a whole $20,000 when we sat and listened to Stephen Brown and Glenn Garrison say that it only costs $20,000 a year? Check that, people. You can't pee in our faces and call it rain. That's what you're doing for a while. Now, it is a conflict. I'd like to talk about the attorney for a little while too. It is a conflict when I check the exit disclosure and he works for Greener Lazy Act. But I also see in the agenda that you have a contract with him. You need to fix that also, because that is a conflict. It's bothering. You know that. Fix it. If you staying here, you fix it. You decide who works for whom, whose name is on the check. That is a problem. Too big a problem. I think that's a county prosecutor problem. Now, the federal government and our governor, they've come out with, you have to be college and career ready. Not college or career ready. How many children have come out of our vocational and technical program able to find a career without going to college? What do you think about that? We have asked time and time again to give us certain information, assess the programs, and even though I'm asking for a different reason than Mr. Matthews asked, Mr. Matthews and I are on the same page in terms of our academy is not up to snuff. Nope. And some people here in this town think it's a holy grail. It can be, but it's not. Okay? We need to deal with that also. Also, the minutes do not agree with the videotape.
Thank you. Policy manual is not available online. Is that correct? However, in terms of the policy manual, it is available to all of the board members, and we are using Strauss Esme as a service that provides us with templates and is helping us. Actually, the New Jersey School Board is helping us to recodify. The policy manual was sent down to them a couple of months ago, so we're waiting for them to send it back to us updated so that it is in line with what is standard for all school districts.
Lucy, on the assessed programs, we have those programs listed on the website. That's the first stage, just to list them all. There's a a long list, but we're in the process, especially in this budget season, to evaluate those programs. I just looked up and James about that just a few days ago, so you'll be seeing more on that very shortly.
As to facilities rentals being enough for anything, I don't know about the other board members, but I can tell you that a challenge that we face in the school district is that the rate of inflation of our expenses is greater than what we're generating in income. So we're outpacing. So a problem that we faced a year or so ago, where we were looking at a deficit, when that was turned around, we didn't correct it forever. Remember, when people get increases, when insurance goes up, when utilities go up, those expenses go up at a rate that's higher than what you get in ratables and taxes. Our tax income doesn't cover the entire budget, it only covers a portion of the budget. So moreover, the challenge that we're facing today, so that we're clear, the BA has reported that we are, and the financials will tell you this, that we had, as of December, approximately 1.3 million left unencumbered to get us through the rest of the year. And the administration will tell you that they've been told that there is a soft freeze for the rest of the year. I, in fact, had the opportunity to sit with a number of teachers and have heard that they are unable to buy, have been denied the ability to buy supplies and resources because our money is tight. So we have a financial challenge. This year, we are going to tight. So
Thank you.
there is a need for us to be able to release funds wherever possible, whether it is Title I, anything. If it's not core and central to the kids, then let's try and put it together. Let's go there.
So if they can't buy books, and we're sitting on title money, why are we sitting on title? Why are we sitting on title money? That's more central to the kids. You just said if it's not more central to the kids, then we can't spend the money. That's more central to the kids. It's Title I, it's federal money, it's civil rights money. So what's wrong? Why aren't you spending that money on that? I'm not leaving. You need to spend the money on that.
This is public session. She's the public. You're not the public.
You're saying it's a soft freeze. How can you soft freeze Title I money? That's illegal.
But how come the board didn't vote on the salt freeze?
That's right. Can I have a question, an answer to my special ed question? I asked it very politely. And no one answered my special ed question. The pre-K question. Dr. Carlisle?
Following protocol, Mr. Biggs.
Protocol. You will follow the law, but you won't follow protocol.
I feel a great deal of gratitude and pride about what we're doing in terms of adopting Amistad officially as a part of our curriculum. Yes, that's definitely correct.
About time.
Is important. This is legislation that's been around since the early 2000s. Turn of the century. And it's critically important that we teach American history in a way that it seamlessly incorporates the contributions, the adversaries, the struggles of Africans and African Americans, and it's done in a way that shows the agency that Africans and African Americans have shown. So I'm extraordinarily pleased, and this is a drum I've been beating for a long time. And many of you know that right now our high school students actually won the Amistad Award for best practices, and we did that in 2006. And from before that time, and even that time since, I have been beating that drum. We really need to do this. So I'm extremely pleased that we've taken on we've made this not prerogative. We're not making this prerogative. We're not making this whim or fancy. But we're taking this as policy. It's already state legislation. We're making policy officially here in Inglewood. So I'm extremely pleased and proud of that. So I want to thank everyone who had any hand in that. And I ask that we show fidelity to this and move forward with it and do it, if you excuse the expression, with all deliberate speed. Thank you.
Thank you. That ends the public session. We're now going to go to the agenda. With that, entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda, which includes 14P57, 14P58, 14P59, which is the amendment, 14P58. Please remember that Mike Huckins' name has been removed from that list. Moved by Mrs. Zimmerman. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Pruitt. Questions?
Yes. 14F73, can we remove that as a separate vote?
Do you wish to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion that 14F73 be voted on separately with roll call.
Is there a second?
It's not protocol.
No, 14F73 is the election. On mine, it says 14F73. Well, on my agenda, you just want to go to 14F73.
No, give me one here.
Carol, you ready for the new one?
Okay, I'm working on the new one, 116.
Okay, 14F73.
That's what it says.
14F73.
Am I the only one that? No, you're
No, I'm with you.
Oh, okay.
14F73. I'm just checking. Okay, so it's been moved to pull 14F73 to vote on it separately.
No, you want to
consent agenda. Is there a second?
About inflation.
Seconded by Mr. Zahn. We're going to vote on this. Roll call. This is to pull it. This is to
Just to
pull it.
vote on it.
This is just to pull it to vote on it separately. That's all this is.
We voted on that before. They just said separate and vote on it.
Yeah, it's going to be voted on tonight. It's just pulling it from the agenda to vote on it separately. If there's a willingness of this body to vote on it separately,
But what does that mean? Is it discussed after?
No, just
yeah,
separate it out.
it's just separated out.
You vote on two things.
You still have a roll call vote because you do a roll call for everything else. So you're going to have a roll call vote for 1473 as well. The request is to pull it out and vote on it separately. Especially as on the consent agenda. Currently, this is a consent agenda. Question?
So it's unanimous.
That's our training.
Questions?
Can we talk about 14F68, which is the surplus funds from last year, and what the stories are on that?
So, 14F68?
Yes.
Grants.
I want to understand, this is a significant.
Can't hear.
Significant sum of money, yes?
That is designated for particular purposes, and I don't understand how it could have gone unencumbered.
I don't have a solid answer for you, so I'm not going to try to give you a smoke here tonight. Get back to you on that.
I don't think we need to verify.
She wants to vote on it.
Yeah, I definitely am not advocating tailing that, because I think we should, utilize those monies. I'm just wondering what happened from that.
What happened with this is that there was a plan for us to have a culture and climate person and a math supervisor. The math supervisor was not hired until late in the year, and the culture and climate person was not identified until late in the year. So the funds were not exhausted in the prior year. And with that, they carried over, because the funds are still there. The board needs to approve to carry over into the current year and make use of those funds. We do have a culture and climate person, in fact, we do have a culture and climate person, and we do have a math supervisor. And so these funds go towards that, and there's some other initiatives that are put in place.
I can answer to this. I do have some information to share with that. I met with the RAC committee just a couple of days ago, and we were very transparent with the funds from one year to the next. They know our intentions, and they gave us a very favorable report about the progress we're making and following up on the plan. Those monies are associated with the plan for our focus school. And Howard's right. The hiring of folks crosses over a couple of years here, but the monies are intact. Mr. Robertson working with the business official on that as well. So, memory lapse for a second.
Questions? Ms. Winston?
Yeah, on 14F69 on the Pritchard, the renewal of the Pritchard contract, how many bids did we get on that? Because I thought we were going out for new bids. And how was Pritchard chosen? Well, we don't know who else was there. Or did we not go out to bid, we're just renewing the contract? Because we talked about going out to bid on that.
We did go to bid. I don't have the exact number of those who were participating. Obviously, Pritchard was one of those. Outstanding group for us.
Well, I think it's important for us to know that when you do RFPs and do bids, then you have to compare. I mean, even though Pritchard's been here a long time, does not mean you have to keep taking Pritchard. And we weren't even informed who else bid on it.
Yeah, so what I think we're looking at, 14F69, is to approve them to the end of February of this year, so that's for another month. And then we're going to go out for RFP for the 2014-15 school year, as indicated in number 2. The last sentence in number 2.
So we're approving them from March 2013 through February 2014. So how are they working here?
Yeah, so
That's exactly, that's why this is a corrective action, because they were not approved for those services.
Yes, so to answer the next question, it should be done.
Okay. All right, you answered my question.
Yeah, so 14A57. I do agree with having certain subject matter weighted, and that helps with that particular issue. This is going to be effective. I realize it would be difficult to go back and students to today, given the fact that
right here, man.
we already have accumulated work. This will only be effective starting next school year.
We've been absent. It's got to go. This is a major upgrade for us. And you're right. You can't go back. We started next 14, 15. I wish we all could do that.
Any other questions?
Yes, on 14F75. What's that's going to be done in the district? Does anybody know if that's the pipe replacement? Heating system. We're not replacing the entire heating system. It says replacing the entire heating, or that entire, it says heating system at the high school.
You said F-75, none of us are looking at F-75.
72. The ROD grant.
That should be
72.
That's 72, I think. I believe, Mark, that we right.
The same pipe they replaced years ago.
The folder is still on it.
It's the newest agenda number.
Particular acquisition. Okay, whatever number is 72, under the water replacement, we were talking about pipes that were needed underneath. Is that the piping issue at the school?
Yes, and you know,
Heating?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I probably should have included this in my finance and operations report that we did. This was the application that we submitted for the Rod grant. That would be a 60-40% split if we were approved. So we were indeed approved by the state for that 40% funding. So in order to move ahead with said projects, we would need to put up the other monies. But they are giving us the 40%. They approved the construction piece associated with the Rod grant application. So that would be the boiler, the piping for that, and the kitchen.
George, can you just comment on I don't think rank and file people in the community even know about that large pipe.
Right. So the state of New Jersey offered a grant for any big projects that a school district would have. So in order to be accepted by the grant, in your application, you had to indicate what project you were going after. In our case, we have a pipe between the middle school and the high school that connects the boilers for heating. That needs to be fixed and upgraded. And our main hub for our food services comes out of our middle school cafeteria. We're looking to upgrade some of those appliances and get more efficient when it comes to sending out our food to different schools. That's the money that we applied for. Those monies, that application rather, was accepted by the state. So they're looking to release 1.6 and on the total cost of a 4.1 project.
Shouldn't Palmtonian pay for that?
It's our stuff. So if you get rid of Palmtonian, the appliances do not walk with Palmtonian. They would be for the next vendor, hypothetically, that we were to bring in. So it's our facility, our kitchen hub. That's our deal.
But they use it, so do they pay us rent? Shouldn't they pay us rent if they use it?
That's right. You can't go back and forth, but it's our facility, and any profits come back to the district as well.
Is there a profit?
Oh, yeah.
They're making money.
Yes.
We're not making money.
I have a couple, some that are easy and some that are probably more challenging. One of the easy ones is when you look at the regulation on the cooperation with the legal community, in the spec, I assume that's still in there. I got it, you don't have it. The regulations surrounding dealing with the legal community. Okay. But if you look at what is page, maybe depending on which number you look at, it may be page 9 of 16, or it could be page 2 of 2, or 2 of 13, which number you're looking at. In clause D, item, on page 9, there's a language surrounding principals should make every reasonable effort to notify parents and guardians, chief school administrator, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of that was crossed out, and it says students, parents, or guardians. I'm just wondering as to the rationale why the superintendent was crossed out also. There's a thick thing in the back. Tab 10. In the detail of the regulation on how we deal with law enforcement. I'm just wondering if there was a specific story as to why the principal should not make every reasonable effort to notify the superintendent also.
There's tab 4, and policy with cooperation with law enforcement.
Yes, yes.
Page number.
Well, it depends. You know, there's the page numbers at the top. Look at the page numbers at the top.
Yes,
9 of 16.
Page 9 of 16, tab 4. Looking at the page number at the top.
And then D.
Yes, thank you.
And looking at some of the edits, I see the parents, the students, parents, and guardians should be notified, which is very reasonable. And the superintendent was there before, but they are removed. Maybe the superintendent's covered elsewhere, but I think that the principal should also let the superintendent know.
Two thoughts. The principal should make the superintendent aware.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not so much that you're seeking to have the superintendent make calls to the parents.
No. But clearly, if the principal knows something's going on in his or her building, they need to reach out to the parents. And in the earlier draft, the chief school administrator was called out. In the edits, they're not called out. And I'm just wondering, is there a thought behind that?
Look at the next page, either the principal or the responsible staff member shall notify the superintendent.
Next page.
Yes, A.
For the record, they do a very good job of contacting across the board.
Okay. So that, then the answer is it's covered elsewhere. And then the other, there are a handful of just minor edit things like the weird characters that come up around hot pursuit. I'm assuming that when the edits are taken out, that'll be cleaned up, as well as the page numbers. This was done in the revision market.
Yeah, in this section 6, it does not provide for notification to the superintendent. That's a separate section, and I think that that's a good catch. Just give me
Because on the next page is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Although they very much mirror.
So if it's a friendly amendment to the mover, it's friendly me on the seconder, I think we should include that superintendent on that. And I don't know if that merits an additional reading. I think that's an easy change. That was the easy.
It seems as though that one line that crosses it out.
Find that guy who's supposed to work at Christmas week. He blew it away, blew me away.
Actually, it doesn't work. The chief school administrator shall be informed.
For copy of contractors.
So the intention is, principal shall make a reasonable effort to notify the chief school administrator
And the
students.
yes, that's what I marked up as that. So that was the
It's
easy.
like where they blow you off.
So you include the parent guardian.
You used to.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Now let's go to the first of the hard ones.
Believe me.
There are two elements
Contracts.
surrounding the non-guy
Holidays are
votes
holidays.
and compensation. I have less of an issue with the retro pay than I do with the guide that was presented here for the non-guide. I understand that some people are not getting a raise. I heard Mr. Hunkin, his name being pulled, so he's not getting a raise as part of this package. There are some people who are on this list that seem to be flat, like I think it's the fourth name down. If I look at column A and column B, that person is indeed flat. I didn't do the math on every person, but largely the raises are about 275. There are some outliers that are not the 275, and there's not a rationale on this document as to why they're not 275. And my concern is, we've talked about a couple times having guidelines or salary ranges for certain skill groups. We have bands for teachers, we have bands for administrators, and right now there's not a band for non-guide folks. So my concern surrounding the increases for this list at this time is I'm not as comfortable with the rationale. Okay, these people get 275, this person gets 2.75 plus X, and right now there's not a guideline of if somebody is indeed bumping up against a salary limit for that skill, do they still get the 275 or do they get a cost of living? You know, I don't know, because in the teacher's guide, we top people out. There's a point in time at which they may or may not get a raise as part of that contract. But I don't know that anybody is in this situation. But for the non-guide folks, we may be putting somebody above market. So I don't have a problem with the retro, but I would have like to have had the time to go through this in a more thorough way from the policy perspective of what kinds of things we may want to put in place for this school year guide. I know we are still negotiating with one of the unions, so I am at this time not supportive of this list as it is presented. I think that the non-guide folks should get a raise. I'm just not as comfortable that this raise should be blanket 275 with 5 exceptions or 7 exceptions. So I would like a more thoughtful view of, here are the 5 key skill groups, here's the salary range in these skill groups, and oh, by the way, if you're at the top of the skill group, you may not get 275 because you're at the top of the skill group. So again, I understand the rationale for providing compensation for non-guide. I don't have an issue with anyone individually, but from the financial perspective, I would just like a little more time to discuss. Here are the skill groups, here's the salaries, here's how we should compensate these people so we don't have outliers. Because when we negotiated with the unions, there was some concessions as part of that compensation package that right now the non-guide folks are not necessarily giving up concessions to get the raise. And I understand that the teachers union is one of the most significant employee groups. And I think we should just have a little bit more discussion surrounding how we handle non-guide folks.
First, we can do that tonight. First of all, you're right. This group does not have a bargaining group. They don't have the support other than me. So there's no one to speak on their behalf. This group has waited a long time to get addressed. There were four technicians who had a correction. You recall at our meeting, I believe, in Atlantic City a while back, we addressed the rate for these technicians, so we didn't feel that we should go back and have another extension to a raise. But other than that, and I think explained, there aren't any other corrections. I talked about the technicians a while back. There's not another one in here. We talked about Mike Duncan not getting a raise, but other than that, there's not been any other adjustments. Pretty straightforward. Danielle, could you add to that? Anything else you want to add from his comments?
I do. So you know.
Would you come get a mic? Come get a mic.
Yes, that Dr. Carlos is absolutely correct in terms of the technicians who received a raise in January 2013, if I'm not mistaken. The spreadsheet itself is correct. Everyone's straight down line is about 2.75. I can share that with you. The actual column. So that's pretty much, you're absolutely right.
But then, in terms of some of the roads, I understand that this is the people who are getting reclassified.
Yes.
There's one person who is 43 and 43.
Correct.
So should they not be on this list?
Well, we wanted to capture anybody that was renewed on the May 8th, 2013 agenda, anybody, and that was inclusive of Mike Duncan, that's why he showed up on the list. There's a little superscript number next to that person that you're referencing that gives a little footnote to why they're on the list and why the number is flat.
So in terms of we touched on this very briefly in one of the personnel committees about us trying to establish benchmarks surrounding skill groups and compensation. Again, I don't have a problem with the retro, but if we don't take the time to correct it, what are we going to do?
No, I agree with that. One of our intentions for the 14-15 school year is to take a look at all of our guidance staff, my title and my job category, and to decide how we can create a salary banding. So that proposal will be forthcoming for 14 and 15.
Yeah, again, I have confidence that we'll try and do something like that, but I am concerned about launching this at this time when we're still negotiating with the administrators union and trying to get our financial house in order. So, again, I don't have a problem with the retro, but in terms of this list as presented, I'm not in a position to support it tonight. And maybe another time we could have other discussions, but tonight I'm not in a position to support it.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. You got something on this topic?
Yes.
Okay. And after she's done, I'm going to go to my next part.
So I think when you look at the names on this list, it's very different than when you work in the corporate world and you have specific groups of people. If you look at difference in salaries maybe with the same title, it's because somebody's been here 5 years and somebody's been here 30 years. And so obviously they've gotten raises along the the time in that 30 years and hopefully been evaluated, and that's why they were able to move forward, and that's why their salaries would be different. But I don't have a problem at all paying always in the history of this school system. I know I haven't been here since it opened, but I've been here a long time. We paid the non-classified off-guide people whatever the union folks settled for, and that's how that was determined.
It's been close, it hasn't always the same number.
Well, maybe not since I retired 3 years ago, but I will tell you before that, yes, it was. It was always this, they waited till the contract was settled, and then the off-guide people received the same amount. So if it was 2, they got 2. If it was 3, they got 3. Right or wrong, that's been the history of it. And that's how, when you have somebody who's been here for 30 years, they're going to make more money than somebody that's been here for 5 years, because they don't start at different salaries. I mean, they start at the same salary. So if I'm getting a raise for 30 years, I'm going to be making more than somebody that started, you know, and is making 5 years. That's just how, because I know people get confused when they look at that. It's not like a teacher's guide where you start at step 1, you go up to step 18. It's a little different. But it is, right or wrong, it has been that way.
Yeah, we have any other questions on this topic? Yes, you have a question on this very topic? I'm sorry, it's different now. Okay.
Why can't we separate the two? Vote on the retroactive now, and then especially with the concern of the caps and reviewing their salary limit and where they're going, because looking at this, and like Carol pointed out, I mean, when you look at it first and with the same title, it doesn't make sense for that, and knowing what it is. But I think that we should still